I had an interesting call this week with a client who owns a record label and he's bringing on a partner. And so part of our discussion was, how are we going to do the deal? How do we address some of his concerns that he has about the partner and what could potentially happen if he brings this person into the label? And we dedicate quite a few videos on this channel to talking about building a record label, getting it to that next level, signing artists, but we haven't talked about how a record label works amongst partners. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you 7 record label tips for business partners. Hi guys, I'm Miss Crystal. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and author of How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent musician. Be sure to subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss our weekly videos helping you with your record labels and getting you to that next level. Number 7 on my record label tips for business partners: don't give away ownership too soon. When we first start our companies, we don't really feel like the company is valuable, and quite frankly, it isn't, right? You usually don't have money in the bank account, you usually don't own anything, and so therefore, it doesn't really feel as bad of giving away portions of the company early on. So you gotta be careful. Don't be so eager to give away a portion of the ownership in exchange, let's say, for services, because you go, what's 10%? What's 20%? What's the big deal? Well, if you knock it out of the park, which is what you're trying to do with your company, well, that 10%, that 20% is going to mean a lot, and it's going to be very valuable down the road, even as soon as a year away, 5 years away. You just don't know. So until you really feel like what you're getting in exchange is worth what you're giving, well, you gotta just kind of hold fast, be patient, and make sure that you have the right partner before you make that decision to give away any portion of your company. Number 6 on my record label tips for business partners: get to know your partner before signing the deal. You are likely going to want to do deals with your friends and your family because you know these people. They make you feel comfortable. But the thing that happens a lot is you don't know them on the business level. And I've had so many clients and some pretty awful horror stories where a client was best friends with someone, let's say, for 25 years. And then they decided to start a business together. Client invests $100,000 into the company. His friend says he's going to do all these great things because he has a certain skill set. And then investor ends up losing $100,000 and his, friendship is over. They're no longer friends. He got ripped off. I mean, all this stuff that you just never would have thought could happen happens. And, so understand, we're doing business. We're not gonna go hang out with our friends. We're not gonna go hang out with our family. And so when it comes to who you decide to build with, we're now looking at things like work ethic. Do they have good communication? Do they have certain skill set? Can they handle problems? Are they gonna be a good partner? You don't know any of that until you've taken some time to really work with someone. And so what I tell clients is, take that time if it means a couple of months, if it means a year. It doesn't mean you can't pay them. It doesn't mean that you can't make them essentially, useful in exchange for, compensation. Figure it out. But kind of in tandem with the prior tip, don't be so eager to give away a portion of your company, but if you are going to, make sure you know who it is that you're about to be partners with. Number 5 on my record label tips for business partners: get a contract with your partner. There's 2 ways that you can do this. The first is, if you take my advice and you say, we're not really gonna jump into this and actually make them a member of the company and sell off a share and this and that, we're just gonna kind of collaborate. What you want to do is have a collaboration agreement. Now, when I was talking with my client, I made this recommendation. I just go, look, it sounds like there's kind of questions and what ifs happening. So before you kind of get into this pretty seriously with this person, do a collaboration agreement where you say, we're working together in this capacity. This is how we're going to work together. This is how the money is going to flow. But you're not saying that you're now bringing this person in as an actual member of the company. So it keeps it a little bit more casual. It gives you the ability to maybe go your separate ways if things don't work out. And so that's kind of path 1. So path 1, do just a collaboration agreement or a partnership agreement with someone and keep it a little bit more flexible. Path 2 is going to be if you actually do make that person a member of your company. In which case, let's say you've set up a limited liability company. I've dedicated all kinds of videos on this channel to discussing how you set it up, why it matters, why you need one for your record label, and I'll be sure to link a playlist down in the description so you can check those videos out. But once you set up, for example, an LLC for your record label, and you decide to bring in a partner, that person is now a member of the company. And so the agreement that you have is called an operating agreement. And the operating agreement basically just sets forth the rules of the road of how the company's gonna operate, how you and your partner are gonna make decisions, who does the day-to-day stuff. And it makes the relationship super clear so that there won't be any confusion. And so if a problem comes up, you can go back to the contract with you and your partner and kind of squash it out, because now you have something that tells you what do you do if certain situations come up. Now, before I get into the next tip, I've done a full-length course talking about setting up a record label, doing your partnership agreements, hiring contractors to work with you, and I've really shown you from start to finish how to run your record label and to build it so that it's successful. And I actually include all of the essential contracts that you're going to need. So if you are interested in checking that out, the link is down in the description below. Number 4 on my record label tips for business partners: discuss branding. Now, I dedicate a whole section in the online course to talking about branding, why it's important, how you do your searches, how you get your trademarks. But for purposes of this video, what I want to touch on is talk about how you're going to represent the company. So in this particular situation, the client was kind of saying, well, this other partner that was going to be coming in has his own separate company, and the separate company does similar stuff to the record label. It's kind of like, an entertainment firm, so to speak. And one of the questions that I immediately asked is, I said, well, is the understanding that everything will be under the umbrella of your record label? Or are you guys going to be kind of working together and concurrently building 2 businesses? And the client wasn't really sure what the answer was. So that just told me that there needed to be a discussion, because let's say a partner who has a similar company, maybe even has a separate label, comes in, well, now there's going to be maybe a conflict of interest. As you're going to be building your company, as you're building your contacts, right? And your connections to venues and booking agents and everything that you're doing as a record label, if you have someone that's kind of siphoning off contacts and opportunities and this and that from the label, that's not good for your label. And that's going to cause problems. So if you have those discussions up front, you say, look, the branding of the company is this. Then once you have an agreement on what you guys are doing together, then you can get into the nitty-gritty, right? What's the slogan? What's the logo? What's the coloring? And that's all stuff we talk about in the course. But as an initial starting point, have those discussions with your business partners about what is our branding and what essentially are we trying to do? Whose name are we pushing? And hopefully the answer is your record label. Number 3 on my record label tips for business partners: don't take investment money too early. It's pretty common at certain points with different businesses that you're going to take investment dollars, okay? So someone's going to come along and they'll say, look, I can throw you $100,000. I want to help. I want to be kind of part of the glitz and the glam of your record label. I want to meet artists and go to music videos and VIP status. And maybe they just want to basically be a part of the fun. So they offer to give you an investment, but they get something in exchange for that investment. And that is typically going to be ownership in your company. So this goes back to one of my earlier points of don't give away too much too soon. Even if someone is saying, hey, here's 20 grand, 50 grand, $100,000. It seems like a lot because it is a lot of money, particularly at the beginning stages of your company's growth. However, when your company really does knock it out of the park, the value of your company is probably going to be a lot more than what you sold it for early on. And again, I talk about this in the course, but when it comes to investors come with strings typically, right? They have expectations and they want to be involved, and sometimes they'll even cross lines, right? They want to make decisions. They want to tell you how to run your company. And so at some point, that $50,000 that you got isn't even worth the headache, really, is what I'm trying to say, of having an investor. So you're going to probably take investment money at some point, but don't do it too soon, and really consider who it is that you're going to do the deal with if you are considering taking investment dollars. Number 2 on record label tips for business partners: get contracts with your artists. The most important contract that you're going to have as a record label when it comes to your artist is your record label agreement. sometimes just called an artist agreement, but what it does is it sets the relationship with the artist of how it's all gonna work. Are you gonna own the music? Are you giving an advance? Are you paying expenses? How long is that artist gonna be signed to your label? These are all the types of things that have to go into a contract with the artist that you sign. More importantly than anything, it's very common that a record label will own the music that the artist makes. But if you don't have a contract, guess what? Under copyright law, you technically don't have that ownership in the music, even though that was the understanding. You actually have to have a written contract with the artist in order to assign ownership to your company. Now, I've included a record label agreement as well as some of the other essential contracts as part of the online course, but even if you don't get that one, what I'm trying to just emphasize is that you need a record label template. Once you get it, you can use it over and over because it's going to be the same agreement that you use for all of your artists. Number 1 on record label tips for business partners, get an entertainment attorney. I've had different clients who have gone through the online course, but I've also had clients who simply hired our office. However you do it, at the point that you actually are getting your contracts, you actually are doing the deals with the artist, and you are signing music, and now maybe you're signing the music to be in TV and film. All of these things that you do as a label have to be done right, and you have to make sure that you are protecting yourself and your ownership and making sure that you can kind of reimburse yourself and recoup on your investment, particularly in the artists. Because what happens is that, if you're kind of willy-nilly about it, you don't have contracts, you're just having fun as a label, is that when something really does kind of catch some steam, goes viral, and then now there's vultures that are coming in trying to take away your artist. And they're trying to basically, take all your hard work and just sign them to now a new label. I've seen that happen. And so making sure you protect yourself with not only making sure that the artist is signed exclusively to you, but we talked about stuff like your trademark, making sure another label can't come and use your name. All of these things, if they're not done in the beginning, do them at some point. Even if you're watching this and you've had a label for 5 years and you're like, gosh, I haven't done any of this stuff. You gotta do it as soon as possible, because if a problem hasn't happened already, it will. It's just a matter of time. Guys, like I said, I am a record label owner and I have definitely been through a lot of this, but I, work with so many labels of different sizes. So I know the problems that come up, and that's why I designed this course. It's because I wanted to make all the information that you need to know about registering music and distributing music and all the contract stuff and all the legal stuff, to put it into one place so you can go at your own pacing and watch the videos and get your contracts. We don't actually need to pay the full price of hiring a law office, which would probably be something like $5,000 or $10,000 when everything is said and done. So definitely check out the course. Like I said, the link is down in the description below. If you're into dark pop music, be sure to search Miss Crystal on all music platforms. I have a new album that I released called Dangerous Daughters, as well as some new music videos, which I will link in a playlist at the end of this video. Don't forget to come say hi on social media. I'm definitely the most active on Instagram, and it's always amazing to meet you guys. I'm gonna get out of here, but don't forget to subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss any videos from your new favorite redhead. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Miss Crystal. Bye.